welcome back. We've obviously have a new...
Wait. Sorry, I was like zoning out during that whole fucking... I was trying to think.
Okay, see? Loud. Okay, and after that...
Guys, we're back!
We're back with a video podcast now.
Video style. We've been wanting to do this for a long time. Since our last podcast
release was put in like February.
Well, we put one out in April, but before that was a few months. And we finally got back to it, but we're back with more knowledge.
Better vocabulary, as they said.
More grounded. We're just more experienced. And I feel like we definitely needed the time off from the podcast where we've been focusing on other things.
Should we talk about that? I mean, head into our social media and you guys are going to see everything. We've definitely grown since when we started.
Yeah.
But like everything is just expanding. And we're going to be expanding a lot more than you guys realize, which is really exciting.
And I hate when people say, oh, like coming soon and like you'll see soon. It's like, we'll just tell you. Well, we started a cart business. So in our area and just in like social media in general for events and things, you always see carts and things like that, drink carts and all that stuff. But we started our own one and we're specializing in, natural, organic, premium ingredients because we don't know anyone that does that yet. So we're hopefully going to start a trend with it too.
I think that's honestly Brisbane's first organic cart. From what we know, don't call us out.
Actually, let us know if you know and other people that do it because, that's a good thing. It's a good thing to share for people for their events and stuff because I think everyone, a lot of the world is getting more into looking after their health and what they put in their body and more conscious about what they believe from what they read and things that they put in their body, foods and stuff, brands and big companies that don't tell you everything. People are starting to do their own research behind things because it's important.
There's a lot of light being shed in these certain topics and there's no more blind eye. Like everyone's just fully aware and they're just acting on it now, which is really good. I'm so happy. Every time like someone's like, oh, I'm starting to eat organic now or they're trying to implement it, like, something little inside of me just sprouts. Anyway.
Honestly, it is really good.
Yeah,
and
even really nice.
My family members, people in my life, you just see that it has this kind of domino effect when you start eating a certain way and you start taking care of yourself. The evidence is in what your energy and what you look like and who you are as a person because it's not just physical, it's also a mindset and a mental thing as well. You know, it all comes hand in hand. And when people see that and they experience your energy in person, it ripples onto them.
Yeah, definitely.
And, whether they start implementing things themselves, I feel like I can hear it echoing. I hope that's not a problem. Guys, this is our first episode. This is our first video episode. We've got the setup. We've learned how to do this all ourselves. It's taken a while, but we got there. It's a little bit bare at the minute. Kind of looks like we're getting a mugshot taken, but we're gonna decorate. Don't worry. It's just a little bit bare at the minute.
We're actually
I was
in
looking
prison.
at the camera and I'm like, okay, this looks so fucking plain.
Should we get into
Yeah, so today's episode topic is going to be on meat because, I think, I can hear the echo. Can you hear that?
I can't hear it.
I can hear. I don't know if it's going to affect the audio, but who
wear
cares?
the headphones?
No, it's fine. We can't change anything now. I think it's important that when you're being conscious about what you're putting in your body, there are certain things that I think that you should prioritize more than others. And meat is definitely up there in the priorities. If you're going to spend extra money and invest in your health, let it be the food that you eat and the things you put into your body. Obviously, everything plays a role. Your skincare, your like beauty products, the clothes that you wear, all that stuff. But meat, we eat, unless you're a vegetarian or a vegan, we eat it every single day. So I think that the quality of your meat is so important, and it's one thing that I will never cheap out on, and I haven't for a long time. I buy organic, grass-fed, grass-finished beef all the time, and I would not cheap out on that. Things like eggs and stuff like that, no.
Especially when you're, for one, dealing with hormonal things. Like, there's so much hormones that come into eggs and meat and the nutrient density of it as well. And two, meat is now being overproduced. Like, if you look back then, they've never had this much consumption of meat at all.
That's why lab-grown meat is getting rolled out.
Yeah, it's getting more and more. There's just an overconsumption of it. And that's why we're here, like what we're here to talk about is obviously the diet, the sourcing, how these farmers are like processing everything when it comes to, giving these animals nutrients, and how much meat are we supposed to be consuming in this regular basis. It's, you know what, that's the thing though. People often misinterpret it where I think labeling and marketing has a lot to do with how we buy our stuff.
For sure.
And which I understand it's there. We're supposed to just like automatically trust it, and that's what we've, how do I?
Consumerism is a problem because we blindly trust.
Yeah, exactly.
Trust what we're looking at and what we're reading from everything.
It's a lot of things that are labeled organic as well. Some of them are not organic, by the way.
Macro organic that's sold at Woolies, you have to do your own research. It might be better than, the other things, but if you're not getting what you think you're getting, then you're getting ripped off because you're paying the extra money because they put the prices up because they say that it's so-and-so, but it's not. You're not getting what you're getting. Yeah.
And you guys will definitely feel it. If you guys are eating non-organic or non-grass-fed, or like you guys are eating like grain-fed, you're going to definitely feel the difference. Yeah. And smell it.
You can see it, you can smell it, and you can taste the difference.
Yeah.
If you're used to, if you've had the other option before.
Yeah,
definitely.
So, thanks.
Yeah, so I will just wanted to start by saying if you're going to invest in something and, pay that extra bit of money for, let it be your meat. Because everyone, like people talk about things, it has everything to do with your priorities. If you're, you go out and drink on a weekend or you spend your money on unnecessary things, but then you're trying to be healthy. Obviously, this doesn't apply to people who are not trying to better their health. Like, if you don't care to do that, then, you're not going to do that. That's your own choice. But if you're trying to better your health, getting your priorities in line and just knowing what to prioritize, because some people don't even clock this because I don't know, their brains don't work that way. They don't have that awareness, or, it just hasn't come to them, and that's fine. That's why we're here to give you some suggestions of what to do, because if you're, if you're a girl and you have a spending problem with clothes or like getting unnecessary things, you could work out like a little bit of a budget and, get one less thing, and then you can get better meat for the week, because obviously you're still going to be buying meat anyway. So when you spend that extra, $20, $30, $40, it works out, and you get, oh my God, if you know how to cook as well, like, you learn once you get good foods and stuff, and you teach yourself how to cook and experiment with different things, it's just, I don't know, it just becomes a hobby, and it's good, and your food's just really yum.
It really just depends on, as Katie said, it just depends on what you prioritize. Like, people just go out to eat, or people like Uber Eats stuff when you could be like meal prepping instead. Like, stuff that is cheaper and more nutritious for you. Like, there's definitely...
That's Vinny. He's outside the door.
I was like, what is going on?
We had to lock him out because he would have kept coming up and like sniffing at the microphone.
No. Anyway. But you guys get what I'm trying to say. It's like there's better options.
I feel like your microphone's not close enough to you. Guys. This is going to be a problem when I'm editing.
Can you guys even see my face?
Every time I usually edit the audio podcasts, and I've said it in a few episodes before that Sahema has a problem with putting the microphone away from her face. And so we're hoping that it's all good because we don't really want to be editing the video podcast because I think it's going to be harder to edit. It's just going to be a little bit more of a...
Oh, it'll be way harder to edit.
And I'm going to be the one doing it. So Sahema has this thing where she'll talk for like 5 minutes about something and I'm editing the audio podcast and then she'll go, wait, Katie, cut that whole thing out. And so I listen to the whole 5 minutes. I'm like, yep, sounds good. Or I'll edit all the little bits out and then I'll get to the very end of it and she goes, cut that shit out. And I'm like, oh my God. So I spent that whole time editing it for her to just fucking say, cut it out.
I remember like editing an audio file when I was on the way back from Melbourne. I was, mind you, that flight was 3.5 hours because it was like delays and something. The whole time I was editing my stuff. There was not enough Katie's stuff.
It's literally always
problem. I like get on as soon as I get on the flight, I am editing. And as soon as I get off, I'm still editing this not goddamn, but like this stupid audio file that has like all these lines and it's just like me cutting myself out.
You were doing it on your phone too, hey? So it's like way more annoying to edit.
So annoying and I'm trying not to do that. So be patient with me, guys.
Anyway, so yeah, I did want to also say that, I do think it's important to spend more money on your meat because if you have like your fruits and vegetables, for example, yes, it's better to spend more money on organic produce and things like that, but you can wash your fruits and vegetables. You can't wash away the antibiotics and the pesticide or like, what is the word? I'm having a mind blank.
Pesticles?
The hormones, the antibiotics and the hormones. What did you say?
Pesticles.
Okay, I don't think that's a word.
Hey, you never know.
Anyway, sorry, I meant to say hormones and antibiotics. Like you can wash the pesticides and the chemicals and stuff off your fruits and vegetables. Bicarb soda, that's what you wash with. Even if you get organic fruit and vegetables, they still get sprayed with things and you never know what's been, you can't trust anything. Wash them. Bicarb soda is a cheap and great cleaning agent. So, and it alkalizes. What happens when you wash fruits and vegetables with bicarb soda? So you put it in a bowl of water and then you put your fruits and vegetables in there and sprinkle your bicarb on there, let it sit for about 10 minutes and make sure you like mix it around so that it what's the word?
Gets clean.
Dissolves. When it does, like it dissolves, the bicarb dissolves in the water and doesn't just sit on the bottom of the bowl, and then you let it sit for 10 minutes and it alkalizes in the fruit and it lifts the pesticides out and then you rinse it and they come off. Whereas you can't really do that with meat because meat is also gets pumped with water. Chicken gets dunked in chlorine, and it gets dunked in. Oh, I forgot that I did do notes on chicken too. Yeah, it gets dunked in chlorine. We're gonna get to that, but you can't wash that stuff off your meats. Yeah. Whereas you can wash your fruits and vegetables. I'm pretty sure the figures is like using bicarb for your fruits and vegetables gets at least like 98% of the residue off.
It is,
which is very good. It's a very bicarb. Everyone knows that bicarb. Well, maybe you don't, but bicarb is an amazing cleaning agent. I use it for everything. I use it to clean my dishes with other things. I use it for my washing powder, to mop the floors, or with like essential oils and stuff. Easy, cheap. Bicarb soda is so cheap. So yeah, that's why I think it's if you're gonna have the option to choose organic fruits and vegetables versus organic meat, let it be your meat because it's a lot. I already explained. So yeah. What else have we got? We looked at studies as well. So we will link. We're going to talk about the three main categories of beef to begin with, which is grain-fed, conventional store-bought, grass-fed, grain-finished, and then grass-fed, grass-finished, organic. Yeah. So, let me have a look. So, yeah, that's what I was saying before. So, we'll source the study that we've looked at, and I think I have 2 or 1, which we'll put in the podcast description, so you guys can have a look at it if you want. Obviously, we're not experts. We're not telling you what to do. This is just learning that we've done and something that we personally do ourselves. So,
yeah. Do you want to get into it?
Yeah. What notes have you got?
This one? Oh yeah. Should I clap?
I don't know. We don't really need to edit it, honestly. I don't want to edit it because it takes forever.
So I've written down that grass-fed beef?
Grass-fed beef? Come again?
See, we're not going to cut this out. We're going to cut this out.
No, we're not. I'm not editing this.
Anyway, so it comes from cattle that eat grass throughout their whole lives. So if you look at the research on beef itself, there's a lot of research that shows that grass-fed why do I keep saying beef? Who the hell's beef?
Tongue twister.
Beef generally contains high levels of omega-3, your vitamin E, CLA, and a lot of CLA.
Or CLA.
What did I say?
I thought you said CLA, like a word. Sorry.
And
what's CLA?
Oh my god, I don't know.
Oh my god.
I don't know what the full name for it is.
And also, the sources that we are referencing, they're not biased. They're not funded by meat companies, because that's also what you need to look at. A lot of people and podcasters and people that share information that are also not experts, but they get these huge followings and things, and they source and cite things, and then you go and look at what they're referencing. It's like there'll be, for example, a milk study on why milk is so good for you and the calcium and all that, and it's funded by literally a milk company. So
it's sponsored.
Put 2 and 2 together. It's bias, and they're funded by them. So what's the results going to be, in their favor or not in their favor? Like, this is where we have to use our critical thinking. So the studies that I have found, obviously, don't do that. Just so you know. Okay. CLA is conjugated linoleic acid, a naturally occurring fatty acid found mainly in the meat and milk of ruminant animals, such as
amino acid.
Amino acid?
No, it's not amino acid, obviously.
I don't think so. So CLA has anti-inflammatory properties, supports heart health, plays a role in immune function, and potentially helps with body composition by influencing fat metabolism, which is also what I'm going to get into with the study, because this study had everything to do with the metabolic state of humans after eating the meat, conventional versus grass-fed. But we'll get to that. So, continue what you were saying.
That was literally it, guys. I was going to get into the antibiotics, but talk about your meat first. I mean, yeah, you talk about what you're going to talk about first, and then we can talk about antibiotics.
I just had a thought that I didn't even press start on the camera for a second, so I had to check that the red light was on. So we've got grass-fed meat, which means that the cow ate grass / pasture for most or all of its life, but for it to eat grass its entire life, the label on your product must say grass finished. Because if it doesn't say that, that's your indicator. That's your green light to say, well, why aren't they putting that on? Because if a company spends the time and the money on having it grass-fed its whole life, because it's obviously, guys, it's obviously cheaper to have grain-fed cattle, because the whole manufacturing process is cheaper, and that's why they do it, because so they can make more money. Yeah. So if a company or a brand or a family farmers are spending the time and the money for it to be grass finished, they're going to say that on their product because they earned that shit and they want the respect of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It makes their product more high quality, and it can make, that's why it's more expensive, because they spend more money and time on it. It's better for humans. So unless it says grass finished, it's most likely not grass finished. Could be grass fed, still good, but you also don't know. It could be grass fed, grain finished. How much was it grass fed?
Yeah.
It could be grass fed the first few days and then the rest is grain finished. This is why it's important. And this is a big marketing thing with grass fed things, because you see the word grass fed and you think that's good. Oh my God, great. I'm eating something that's grass fed, but it's marketing. Guys, consumerism. We need to critically think.
I really want to know where people really buy their meat from. Like, where are people really buying their meat from?
I literally will not. I would never eat. I just don't eat beef or anything from the shops. Sometimes I will get chicken.
Yeah.
But I haven't been eating chicken at all recently. Like, I just don't really eat chicken anymore unless I can get organic chicken from the organic shop. Oh my God, the other day I got organic chicken. It was it would still had 2 days of date in it, or 3 days, but it was 30% off. So I got it. And I got heaps of it. And I made tikka masala. It was really yummy. Yeah. That's what we're having for dinner tonight.
Katie and her cooking, bruh. I'm scared.
I'm hungry. It's literally nearly 8 o'clock. I'm in bed in half an hour usually. Like, what's going on?
I feel like I'm way more scared with buying chicken at a shop rather than meat. Like
what?
Rather than, beef. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Repeat yourself.
I feel like I'm way more scared of buying chicken at a shop rather than beef. Just because there's more bacteria leached onto chicken than there is on actual
chicken processing. It's
so bad.
It's feral.
It's way worse than beef, I would say.
I think so
it's
too.
way worse.
Yeah.
Like, if you guys, what we're about to tell you, but
chicken is cheaper.
Yeah, it's way cheaper.
Doesn't that make sense, guys? Because it's cheaper for them to do, so it's way worse for you.
But yeah, I don't know why. I just feel like I don't know why. What am I saying? It's way more scary to buy your chicken, and make sure. So many people miss that the blue spots on chickens when they're buying it from shops, and this is how someone that I know just recently got sick. Is that the chicken that she got had some blue spots? This is a big bad bacteria indicator.
A big bad bacteria.
And I'll tell you that right now. Go ask any butcher right now.
I've never heard of that. Blue spots?
Yeah, blue spots on chicken. Like blue-ish, like had that blue tone on chicken. Ew. Yeah, it's really gross. It's food. You're going to get food poisoning and you're going to get salmonella. I mean, hopefully you don't. But yeah, continue to keep talking.
Okay, so the next one was, so we've gone through grass-fed, then we've got grass-finished, which I've already pretty much explained. Yeah. The cow stayed on the grass right until slaughter, and it was never finished on a grain feedlot. That's so good. Grass-fed whole time. And organic means that there's no synthetic pesticides, herbicides, GMOs, hormones, or routine antibiotics. None of that was used. So your optimal option is going to be grass-fed, grass-finished, organic. That's what I eat. That's what I get my meat from. It's an Australian organic butcher.
Do you know if antibiotics is used on grass-fed?
It all depends. Yeah. There's so many different farmers. You have to do your own individual research. Yeah. I asked the owner of, I don't know if it's the owner or the manager of the store that I go to. It's a little store in an industrial estate. I asked, is this grass-fed, grass-finished? And, where it comes from. And she said that they're one of the only ones that does grass-fed, grass-finished organic, because a lot of them are grass-fed, grain-finished organic. Yeah. So I'm at the prime butcher. And I love my butcher because it's got sauerkraut, milk, kefir, cheeses, all them little knickknacks that you need, I get organic. They do these packets of organic beef fat strips that I get for my dog. I got a German Shepherd. So liver, all that stuff. Amazing. I love my butcher.
It's so good, but we're not going to tell you where it is because then you guys are going to know where we kind of live.
Yeah. We're not gatekeeping. We're actually just
do your research.
Keeping our privacy. So,
but let's get into that antibiotics.
Yeah.
So I think, are you finished with beef?
Well, no,
not yet.
But you can talk about antibiotics.
Okay. So while we were doing our research, both Katie and I found that a lot of antibiotic use is literally pumped into both cattle, like cows and chicken, any type of meat. It's pumped into it. And what I mean by that is, as soon as, someone gets sick, not someone, an animal gets sick, what farmers choose to do, or some farmers choose to do, is pump these animals with antibiotics so that it creates like less of an illness or less of a disease. For one, think of it such as a human where we don't understand the internal source, and what we do is put a Band-Aid over it and put antibiotics within our body. And what does that do? It creates a damage, even though it does, take away the bad bacteria, bad cells within our body, or those
temporarily.
Temporarily.
It always comes back.
Substance.
Unless you change your health.
Well, yeah, that's a big factor. But it does take away those foreign components, but it also takes away the white cells, which is utilized to fight infection, and it reduces that. A lot of people, with what I got checked into actually personally is that I have a low white blood cell count, and then
neutropenia.
Yeah, neutropenia. It's like mild neutropenia because they've concluded it on where I'm from, like it's just genetics, and maybe it is, but even though I don't think we should just conclude it on that. Anyway, that's a side note. Anyway,
they like to say that.
Yeah,
it's
they do
genetics.
Like to say that.
High blood pressure is genetics.
Which
okay,
like yes and no, but not really. Even like there's been so many times where I've been at my healthiest and it's been a high range of your lymphocytes and your neutrophils, which is again your white blood cells. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that what they offered is to take antibiotics so we can increase the white blood cells. No, it does not work out that way. We do not put a Band-Aid over our sickness. And this is basically what the farmers are doing, is that they're putting a Band-Aid over these animals that are sick. Like, if that was me, I'm so sorry, but that animal is dead to me. But, like, I would be cutting that animal off. Like, yeah. I would just let it have a good life and, like, let it run free. Side note, that's how... Can I talk about halal meat?
Yeah.
That's what halal meat is as well. A part of that component is that we cannot like kill an animal that is sick. We can't. That animal has to have a good life. Whatever it's been fed, it has to have a good life, and it has to be in a healthy state as well. And yeah, if I was a farmer, which I'm not, and I understand there's an obvious lack of experience, but I would just be cutting that off. But even then, a lot of this meat that we're intaking has pumped antibiotics into it, which...
I do have a question about halal meat though. Like, yeah. What? I don't really know
much about it.
I do. I thought is halal meat that it's... Yeah, they don't kill sick animals, like the animals...
Yeah. Like, they don't kill any sick animals, nor... If that animal was having like a bad life, like it was growing up in a bad environment and stuff like that, they wouldn't kill it. Like they would just like let it free, like go.
So would they still be pasture raised and stuff like that? Halal meat?
Well, there's a lot of halal meat that is like, we have halal meat that is grain fed, grass fed and organic, but a lot of them are just mostly grass fed.
But what does it mean if they had a bad life? Like what's the criteria for that?
It's just like based on assessment, like what these people would be doing as like farmers, like a lot of the halal meat is raised in a halal farm. So you won't really have to worry about it in the same time. Like I know a butcher that has a farm and they make sure that these animals that are brought in have a good life. Like if they have to import it and stuff like that, they're taken care of and that they're clean and that there's no diseases tied to them. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So like it's a whole assessment. That's why a lot of halal meat is not available. Like you'd have to do a lot of these like checklists to make sure that what we're giving off is clean.
Yeah.
In every aspect, whether that's like truth, no marketing stuff. It's just straight up like this is halal grass-fed or this is halal grain or Anyway, but it ruins the animal's gut lining as well, like back to antibiotics, but it also ruins the animal's gut lining, which is such an important thing when we're feeding our animals. How do you think they're taking all these nutrients in when they can't even do that, when they're being pumped with antibiotics? And a lot of, just like an add-on as well, a lot of these farmers that are pumping these antibiotics is making these animals fatter, which is in people's eyes, like consumers' eyes, bigger, which means it's better or like it's healthier.
It disrupts your gut lining, so it inflames you, makes people bloated and stuff like that. But this is why, because you can Google, which is what we did, why is antibiotics bad for humans, for beef and, meat and stuff like that. And Google will say that, it's important to get your statistics correct in the way that you say these things because antibiotics are good and antibiotics, do blah, 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 which is, no.
Oh my God, it didn't save, did it?
The camera died. So if the video is in a different position, just ignore that. And we have one less light. So anyway, who cares? Back to what we were saying. We just had our dinner in between while we were waiting for the camera to charge. And we had organic chicken. I think I said that at the start of the video.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway.
It was so good, guys.
And I made fresh sourdough. Guys, I've learned how to make sourdough from my sister. My sister has a little bread making business, baking stuff. She doesn't just do bread. She does, her menu at the minute is bread, granola and cookies. Shout out to Liv's Little Loaves on Instagram. You guys can go and have a look at her page. And I got sourdough starter off her and I learned how to make my own starter. So Hamer, I don't know, I just said it like that. So Hamer and I just had fresh sourdough, came out of the oven an hour ago and it was amazing. Amazing.
Guys, it was like one of the best bread I've had in such a long time.
I made 2 loaves. I made a plain one and one with lemon zest, cranberries, coconut, chia seeds. Can you eat chia seeds?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. She's allergic to nuts and I keep putting pecans and walnuts and stuff in my bread and she can't have it when she comes over. And I'm like, oh, sorry, more for me then.
If you do ignore it.
Back to what we were saying before the camera died. So we were saying about antibiotics and how you can Google, which is what we did, to ask questions about, why is it bad for antibiotics to be given to the meat and the cows that we eat and the chickens and stuff. Also, guys, this is just the generic, we're talking about beef and chicken. We could also do another episode on pork and lamb and duck and all those other things. But obviously, especially being westernized, chicken and beef is the main picks for protein. Obviously, fish and stuff like that too, which, oh my God, that's another good episode.
Yeah, fish would be so good. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I can talk about salmon for like 3 hours.
Yes.
That would be so good.
Lots of things to talk about with fish. You know what I was looking at, reading about today? Caviar. And how caviar is like not even that, like it's good for you, but it's not really that nutritionally
it's not
beneficial. You can get the same omega-3s and stuff, but it's just ridiculously expensive because of the harvesting process. It takes years and years. Apparently the fish, it's like 7 to 20 years. Or 13
no, they exaggerate
it
sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know.
They really do.
But if it's top quality, top tier quality, and obviously the taste is probably maybe what people sought after.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
I haven't had too much experience with caviar yet.
I love caviar.
I've had it before. I've had it little bits on different things, but I've never, how people eat it on their own.
Oh, yeah.
That book that I was just reading, I joined a book club, guys, Booked and Busy on Instagram.
We're just shutting out business.
I know. But that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
I read Valley of the Dolls. It's my first book, non-fiction book, but it's about like the New York fame and like drugs and pills and stuff. And the girl, she's like trying to lose weight and be skinny because she's a showgirl, and she's like, fuck it, and just goes to her fridge and just eats heaps and heaps of caviar because she's rich and she's got like caviar in her fridge. Just thought that was funny. Anyway, back to what we're talking about. You can Google about hormones antibiotics, sorry, and Google will say, oh, like, you know, you need to make sure that you're portraying this accurately.
It's good
because,
for you.
or, you know, they're going to tell you that antibiotics, the science is going to tell you that antibiotics are good for you because they help with sickness and, you know, whatever they're used for. There's obviously a lot of different antibiotics, and I'm referring to humans right now because antibiotics is like the main it's infection. So that's what antibiotics are for, is infection, and they'll give you generic antibiotics. There's antibiotics for a whole different range of things, but they give it to you because you have a disease or sickness, something is wrong in your stomach and inside, and it masks the problem. Yes, antibiotics, people always say, yes, antibiotics cleared me up. Yeah, they might do. They might do temporarily, but whatever you've had, unless you sort the root cause, it is like 9 times out of 10 it's going to come back.
Yeah.
Depending on obviously what it is. Same thing goes for the beef and stuff, because this is what, and then we also are asking, you know, why, so if it's good for you, then why do organic manufacturers not use antibiotics in their beef and their chicken and all this stuff? And it's because they're preventing the need for antibiotics with premium nutrition. They're not going to need antibiotics because they eat properly. They eat grass, like if we're talking about beef. So yeah, I just think, you know, they prevent the disease through nutrition. So when you have the conventional grain-fed cattle and the conventional chicken and things like that, they're subjected to stressful environments because they're crammed together in feral environments, and you know, they get stress is the number one killer, you know, that's like the number one chronic disease of the world, and people don't realize it. If these animals are under stress, that's the start of all of their problems, and then they're going to get diseases. Then on top of that, they're fed, you know, not the best quality food, terrible quality food, if that, depending on, you know, the farmers and what they're being fed. That's a whole different thing. You know, you need to look into each individual farmer because lots of them are different, but, you know, the big corporations are where we get our, like, you know, the main supermarkets and stuff.
Yeah.
These animals get pumped with antibiotics because they're sick, because they eat bad, they're fed bad things, and they're in stressful environments. So that's why antibiotics are bad. And this is why you cannot just Google a single thing and look at what it says, because this is another thing, you know. If you look asking ChatGPT a question or Google or whatever it is, whatever kind of AI, they pull the sources, they pull all these sources from the mainstream most popular sources, and they give you an answer based off that.
Yeah. If you guys think for a second you're going to trust Google on the first thing that pops up in 2026, you're stupid. And I'll tell you that right now.
Some things might be, but you have to
continue
the research.
I'm talking about like things that actually do need some research. Like there could be like yes or no questions, which is fair enough. Yeah. But at the same time, there is so much things that we need to do our own research for. And a lot of these top things that you're seeing, the first 10 things that you're seeing are all sponsored. And they're all paying their way to be up there. So
you can do that with your ads and stuff.
Exactly.
You put it on Google, you can pay for it to be the first one
that comes up
on Google. Like you need to just be aware of that.
Where do you think Big Pharma puts a lot of their money into? Like, I mean, yes, like any other company.
Any company, marketing is the way. How are they going to get their message across to consumers to buy their stuff? Through marketing.
It's ridiculous. It's actually so bad.
It's ridiculous.
And then...
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off like that. Sorry.
There's like, you know what I've been going to, and it's like if someone's like watching this and they're like, oh my God, that's why this girl is just talking about this. I go to Reddit. Like, I actually look at Reddit a lot.
Yes. Reddit is like...
I don't care what anyone says.
All the smart people are on Reddit asking questions and giving you information.
They literally link all these studies and all these things that we don't see because they're hiding it. It's like...
Anything that you're reading, discernment is key. Yeah. You need to... If you don't have discernment, then go get it because you need
Honestly.
discernment to be able to
navigate.
Read a room.
Yeah,
read a room and read the emotions and the energy and critical thinking. Next.
That's one big thing.
So, now that we've gone through, this is a lot to talk about, honestly. And I'm happy to be talking about it because I think it's so important to learn. We eat meat every day. So.
It's a delicacy. People are still not realizing it's a
Literally.
delicacy. As what we said before.
So, yeah, that's what we were saying before. You know, this is where the labels get misleading, which we've already touched on that because, you know, grass-fed doesn't mean that it's amazing because they go to a grain feedlot at the end where they bulk the fuck out of them to make them because they have to be a certain weight before they get taken to get slaughtered. Why they choose to grain finish cattle is because it fattens them up quicker towards the end. It creates more marbling too, which a lot of people, that's a common misconception, is that because it's more marbled means it's better. Some people obviously prefer the taste too, and sometimes marbling is nice and you might prefer it, but grain fed allegedly creates more marbling, which is interesting. Don't quote me on that. I'm just.
What does marbling mean?
The marbling in the meat. You know how it's like the fat marble, the white lines? Yeah.
That creates more marbling.
Allegedly. It gives a softer texture and a sweeter flavour, and also it lowers the production costs, which is basically why everyone does it. Conventional grain-fed beef, that's obviously standard supermarket in most countries. Those cattle are raised partially on pasture in early life. Don't believe that for a second. And they get finished in feedlots on corn, soy, and grain-based feeds. If you don't know the concerns regarding grain-fed beef, because you know what, we might be talking to people. I'm just assuming that you guys know this stuff, but you probably actually don't. And that's why I need to talk about it, because I feel like I'm leaving out the important things. But if you don't know why it's a problem to have grain-fed beef, is because the main concerns are higher omega-6 fat content, lower nutrient density, greater antibiotic use, hormone use. The feedlot living conditions is just feral because these are animals. You know, if you don't respect the animals and the living things around you, I know that's like probably controversial to say because you also eat them, but the life they lived beforehand should still be enjoyable. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
And if you don't agree with that, then that says something about you. GMO. And in Australia, the regulations are apparently stricter than a lot of other places, but that concerns me also because you might be comparing it to the USA, who has lab-grown meat now. And I don't know, I actually don't know if Australia does too, but Bill Gates is disgusting. Just had to say that. But yeah, so, you know, practices, they range widely country to country, but if this is what we're having in Australia and this is a more gold standard, then that's a problem. That's really a problem. And, you know, why we want to talk about this is because the food that we eat has like a direct link to our short and long-term health. So that's really what we're getting at here. So if you're trying to better your health, I'm not going to say take our advice because this isn't advice.
We're not dietitians.
Just listen. We're just talking and asking questions.
And we're definitely not farmers.
I will be a farmer. You know what?
Inshallah.
I would say I'm a farmer in a way.
Girl, get out. Get out.
I planted fucking plants. Does that make me a farmer? That makes me a botanist.
I reckon you can have chickens outside your backyard.
I am. I'm going to live on a farm. So, you know what? I am a farmer. I'm speaking it into existence. This fucking backyard.
Yeah, I reckon you can make that happen.
With my German Shepherd?
Yeah.
I don't think so. So, moving on. So this is where I'm going to get into the study. So when we eat, the process of our body undergoes is called a postprandial metabolomic response. And this is a complex dynamic sequence of chemical changes that your body undergoes that happens pretty much like immediately after you're eating and the hours after, because obviously your body needs to digest over a few period of hours when you're eating. That's why you shouldn't eat just before you go to bed. That's why it disrupts your sleep, because if you're trying to go to sleep and you just ate before bed, your body is still working inside, so you can't shut off properly and go to sleep.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's why fasting, everything links together.
And it causes minor heartburn, by the way. Like, if you guys keep doing it.
Is it because you lay down?
Yeah. And, especially if you're consuming, people consume chocolates and stuff.
Yeah, it depends what you're eating too.
Yeah.
If the food you're eating is terrible before bed, then it's obviously going to be way worse.
Way worse.
So, yeah, when you consume a meal, your digestive system breaks down the food into, thousands of molecules. Then they're called metabolites. So that's glucose, amino acids, and lipids. And this triggers a systemic shift as your body absorbs and processes them. And why this matters for overall health is because, most people spend the majority of their working hours in the fed state, and it's called the postprandial state. How effectively your body manages and clears these metabolite peaks provides a direct window to your long-term health. So the way that your body digests food is going to be a great indicator of your long-term health. And this all just comes into play with inflammation and cardiovascular disease and all this kind of stuff. Everything's connected. And so all of the symptoms that you can get from eating and how your body digests things if they're bad, that's all going to lead to stress on your body. Again, stress is the number one killer, Stress takes the time off your life. So that's why people that live a calm, their mindset is good. These are the people that live the longest, the people who don't let themselves get stressed out. As hard as it might sound, it's a lifestyle, and it's just like,
obviously other components do play, but
obviously there's
stress.
things like fight or flight responses when your body's in shock and you go through things, but the general day-to-day life of stress, if you're I think about my job, for example, and people at my work, and they let the job literally stress them out, and they take work home with them when they absolutely do not need to at all. I'm like, it's really not that serious. You're working for another company. You're not working for your own company. Let's just turn it down a notch, because it's really not that serious.
Every time we get stressed at work, I'm like, this is not my dad's company. I need to chill out right now. But yeah, it does take off a lot from your life as well. Yeah. It takes years, by the way. Literally. It's probably worse than smoking and drinking alcohol.
It's the number one killer. Really, I'm not just saying that. So anyway, I had a read through this study, and this was basically a study that investigated whether grass-fed beef or conventionally fed beef differ in their metabolite composition after eating it. So the key findings of this summary was that the metabolite profiles of grass-fed and conventionally fed beef were significantly different. And after eating the beef, the participants who were in the study showed a different post-meal metabolic response depending on which beef they consumed. So conventional beef was associated with high levels of some metabolites, including propionylcarnitine, which has been linked to cardiovascular disease risk markers, and L-valine, which is a branched-chain amino acid associated with oxidative stress and metabolic disease. And then the grass-fed beef contained higher amounts of several amino acids and other compounds. Why can't I speak? Compounds that may have anti-inflammatory or health-promoting properties. And so then what happened after eating the beef? So the biggest differences between the two groups was 1.5 to 4 hours after eating it. And during this period, the pathways that it involved is the protein digestion, amino acid breakdown, fat metabolism, and energy production. And they were affected differently depending on the beef that was consumed. So basically the results suggested that the cattle, this is just like a summary that I actually wrote down from looking at it because I read the results in the summary at the end of the study. So this is like basically just copying what it said on the study. Some of the results suggested that cattle feeding practices influence not only the composition of the beef, but also the body's metabolic response after eating it. And some of the metabolites elevated after conventional beef consumption have been associated with oxidative stress, inflammation, cardiovascular disease risk, and insulin resistance. So, however, that the study does not prove that any type of beef is healthier than the other, only that they produce measurably different metabolic responses in the humans. And some important limitations to note from the study is that there was a very small sample size. It was 10 healthy adults. Short-term study measuring responses for only 4 hours after one meal. And metabolomics can identify associations but cannot establish long-term health outcomes. So, that just as a key takeaway is that grass-fed and conventionally fed beef have distinct metabolite profiles, and these differences alter how the body processes nutrients after eating, basically. And, more research is obviously needed for these things, but when you look at who's sponsoring these, it's just, it's a random study done on humans, and one side differs to the other and they're the same on each side.
Yeah.
So you can make your own conclusions from that. So we'll note the link to the study in the description so you guys can have a look at it if you like. Yeah. Now we're going to get on to chicken.
Okay.
So Hama's going to reattempt.
Oh my gosh, guys. Katie's going to cut it out, but I was in La La Land when I was actually saying everything. Katie said, before, that we're going to joke about making music.
We really wanted, I might do it before we post this episode. Every time I pull the microphones out and I'm have the headphones on testing out the sound, I'm I really just want to record a song. Why can't I? Well, I can if I really wanted to.
Don't do that.
But I said I was going to prank our followers and say that there's an album coming out. Because I took a photo with my headphones and the microphone.
I think they would honestly believe you. I'm not. I won't be surprised. Why not?
I could do it. I've got food on my pants.
Okay. So, as we know, chicken are omnivores, and that's basically. Wait, guys, we're not doing this again. I keep saying I'm going to freeball it, and I keep switching to my each app.
That's what she said before. Yeah, exactly. She put her notes on. She's like, I'm just going to freeball this, and then she just fucking talks shit for 10 whole minutes. It's nearly 9:30.
Guys, it's because you know what it is? I want to get better at just
It's hard to read. I just shit myself trying to read off the screen. I like to just talk and not try and remember shit. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Continue. Why don't you continue? I'm joking.
I'm sorry.
No.
I'm bad for that.
It's
not the hood. So Hama's I'm putting my hood up. My hair's greasy. I'm surely not.
I am. Okay, so what I've written down is, again, it's the same thing as Katie said. As soon as you start researching, it's the same thing. They're going to tell you grain-fed is absolutely healthy and there's nothing wrong with it, even though they're being literally fed corn this whole time and then let outdoors. And it, basically what it says is that it's stated that most chickens that are grain-fed are kept indoor, which they're not getting... Why are you laughing?
Your hood was slipping. And she's
my weave. Basically what the diet contains, sorry guys, is corn, soy, and wheat, which again, I'll just like tell you guys like an unbiased answer and then like we'll get into it as an opinionated wise. And grass-fed, which is also known as pasture-raised. Is that how you say it? Pasture?
Pasture?
I've had both, honestly.
Right.
The chickens for that are mainly eating the same grain of protein, but supplement their diet by going outdoors, eating grass, seeds, and insects, which they naturally do anyway. Like chicken are omnivores. This is like 90 to 100% of their diet. They're not eating stuff that is like corn and soy, which also can be, can be genetically modified with corn and soy.
Corn is one of the corn has no nutritional value, and corn is one of the most sprayed and genetically modified vegetables. I think it is the number one.
Is it? I don't
fact check me on that. I'm pretty sure it is.
I know, but
your body can't break it down.
It can't. You literally poop it out.
Yeah, literally.
That you can't even when you vomit. So, well, obviously, yeah. When you vomit, you can't even like.
Your body doesn't break it down.
But like it just. I mean, imagine chickens doing that. I've heard a lot of chickens in the past being like choking on corn. I don't know why these people are feeding this. Anyway, opinions later. These chickens that are being grass-fed, they tend to produce
grass-fed.
I mean, well, yeah, grass-fed.
They eat grass.
Yeah, chickens eat grass.
What the?
Yeah, that's what I was saying before. Is that they eat grass, insects, and seeds when they're outdoors. So, girl,
I don't know.
Katie's not listening to me.
I just heard grass-fed, so I'm like, are we talking about chicken or beef here?
No. To produce, so basically, let me just cut back on that. Beep, beep. To produce eggs, grass-fed chickens tend to produce eggs and meat with slightly higher, slightly higher profiles, such as omega-3 fatty acids, and compared to being a grain-fed chicken, basically. Why are you looking at me like that?
I was like yawning and keeping my mouth closed at the same time.
Do you know like burped and But anyway, they have a lot of omega 3s. They have an increased content of what am I saying?
I don't know.
Antioxidants. They have a large amount of vitamin E, which also helps, us have a greater immune system. A healthier profile of fatty acids, which again, it's just like the omega-6 and the conjugated linoleic acid, what we were talking about before, and I didn't know the name of it. And up to 5 times the amount of omega-3, and it can improve, and that can improve like with your health and depression.
So, now going to get into chickens and how they're sold. So, the labels that you see at the supermarkets and stuff, free range chicken meat. So, unlike eggs, there's no legally enforced definition for free range on chicken meat in Australia. Yeah. So, the egg industry has a mandatory standard under the Australian consumer law, but meat chickens don't. And so, when you see free range on a tray of like chicken thighs or something, it means whatever that particular brand certification says it means. So that's why you have to look into the particular brand. And even with eggs, eggs will say cage free, but that just means that they're compact, squished, just like they would be in cages. They're in a room that's that compact that they've got nowhere to roam.
Can I actually say something? When I was actually just an add-on, when I was doing my research about the comparison between the grain-fed and the grass-fed chickens, I found that, and it was stated so many times, and even in the paper that I was reading, is that usually with grass-fed chickens, the eggs come out more nutrient dense. And that's why I concluded it. I forgot to add that.
Yeah, that would just make sense anyway.
Yeah, it would make sense. But anyway, please continue.
So the main certification bodies for free-range chicken meat is FREPA, Free Range Egg and Poultry Australia. So their standard requires outdoor access once the birds are fully feathered, and the shed stocking density up to 15 birds per square metre. And they don't have a cap on outdoor stocking density. So, and artificial lighting is limited, which is a big thing because, guys, I literally did a TikTok on this the other day about how incandescent lights, LED lights, Bunnings they're not even legally allowed to sell incandescent lights anymore. It's all purely LED. What's that about?
Why?
Yeah, I bought a 10-pack of incandescent lights, and I changed all my light bulbs in my house, all my salt lamps. I have 3 salt lamps in my house. I changed all my light bulbs, and LED lights mess with your nervous system. That's another episode for another day. But this comes in handy with this because the chickens are exposed to less artificial light with certain criteria for the free range and stuff, because the artificial light messes with their bodies.
Especially when they're growing up. Like, they need that. I always have trouble pronouncing it. What's that light called?
Incandescent.
Incandescent light for their development. They actually, when you're growing chickens, what is the one thing that you need to have? It's that word I could not say.
If you don't know what incandescent lighting is, it's that light. It's the warm yellow light that's made. I forgot what the thing is called, but the reason that they don't use incandescent lights allegedly is why it's a fire risk because they get hotter. Miss me with that bullshit. Yes, they get hotter, and I had someone say, "Oh, your electricity bill is gonna be so much higher." Okay, I'll pay it.
But when you guys do your research on how bad LED lights is, you're going to understand as to why people switch.
Guys, you guys don't need to do you do need to do your research, but we'll do an episode on that.
Anyway, look at it for 10 seconds.
One of the next certification bodies is ACO, which is Australian Certified Organic. So this requires outdoor access during daylight hours, regardless of their age, shed density of 12 birds per square metre, and an outdoor cap of 2,500 to 4,800 birds per hectare, depending on the rotation, because obviously they go through rotations, and they have a max of, they have a max of 16 hours of artificial light and eight hours continuous dark. And then there's RSPCA approved, so it has both indoor, barn raised and outdoor standards, focuses on enrichment and welfare, not just outdoor access. So with pasture raised, there is no legal definition for pasture raised in Australian law either. It's an unregulated marketing term, and the only formal standard is a private certification trademark. So, yeah. But a brand can slap pasture raised on a pack without meeting a specific standard. That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
So you need to look at what you're buying. If you care about it, you need to look into it, because they can put that on there and it doesn't mean a thing. There's no government enforcement. So what are you going to do? They're allowed to do it. The organic is the only one that's regulated. So, yeah.
That's under law as well, guys.
To call a chicken organic in Australia, it must be certified under the National Standard for Organics and Biodynamic Produce. So, there's a few certification bodies for that.
And there's no playing around.
And the organic means, again, certified organic feed, no routine antibiotics, free range with outdoor access, and processed at a certified organic abattoir. So, cage free, just said it before, that's pure marketing. Unlike the egg industry, meat chickens are never kept in cages in Australia. They're always barn raised or free range. So cage free on chicken meat tells you nothing useful, because chickens that are brought up for meat are never put in a cage. Only the ones that are using the eggs are. And the next thing is chlorine that I want to talk about, because This is the spin chill situation that chicken goes through. So the majority of conventionally processed chicken in Australia goes through an immersion spill, which is the chilling, and it's in a large tank of cold chlorinated water, and it just rapidly drops the carcass's temperature. And the chlorine is added to the bacteria to the water to kill off the bacteria and stuff, and that's what they say that it's used for. Which it might be, but it's for food safety. Like that's what they say it's for. But they say that the chlorine level is regulated and it's similar to what's in drinking water and swimming pools, which also tells us nothing useful either because no chlorine in the body is good for consumption. Australian drinking water
has chlorine in it.
And lots of other things. So you don't have filters for that shit.
It's so bad.
There are so many episodes that we need to talk about. Oh my God, we've been away, but we have lots to talk about, honestly. So,
I can't get over how bad it is actually in Australia.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the worst.
I know. And so, organic chicken is air chilled, whereas the other chicken is spin chilled in chlorine. It says that organic chicken is air chilled instead, and there's no immersion bath, but it still gets a brief chlorine spray rinse depending on the brand or like the farmers or whatever, for a few seconds as a food safety step before air chilling. So it's not chlorine free, but it's a far less exposure. And then there's the water injection. So, chicken being pumped with water question. They're two separate things here. So water absorbed during the spin chilling, which that's going to happen. Which this is so funny because they like to say that, the chlorine isn't absorbed, it's on the surface, blah, blah, blah. But then all this water gets absorbed into the chicken. Huh?
How? Guys, it doesn't make sense. Like, it actually doesn't make sense. They can't say that.
You can't just say words. So when water observed during the spin chillings, when the carcass goes through this chlorinated ice bath, it naturally absorbs the water, which it's going to do, and adds the water weight. So then you're also paying for that water. So you think about that when you're paying for your chicken. You're not paying for 100% chicken. And this is why, a conventionally processed chicken breast might feel plumper and heavier than an air-chilled one because it is heavier because it's filled with water. So, and then they have deliberate injecting where some chicken products, especially brands or moisture enhanced, if you're going to, people pay for, that's literally a thing that people pay for, a more juicier fucking chicken breast because it's fucking water. Stop swearing. There's water in it. There's water. So maybe if you don't want a dry chicken, don't put it in the air fryer.
If you don't want it, wait, say that again.
The air fryer. People air fry their foods, everything. Air fryers. Get rid of them.
Don't put it in there. Well, you know what's happening in my head is 2 times the equivalent of pie right now.
What?
Because I'm trying to figure out what Katie just said.
Oh my God.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Do you get it?
Yeah, I get it now.
Okay. So.
It took me so long to understand.
Oh, I was going to get into the drinking water thing, the difference. So Australian drinking water is treated with chlorine or chloramine at very low levels, allegedly. Typically 0.5 to 5 milligrams per litre. Wait, what was ppm? Parts per million or something.
Yeah.
So this is enough to kill the pathogens like bacteria and viruses, but well below the level that causes harm. Allegedly. That's the Australian drinking water guidelines. They're set at a safe limit, of 5 milligrams per litre. And the concentration of the chlorinated water in the spin chiller is typically 20 to 50 parts per million. Parts per million? Is that right? So drinking water, 0.5 to 5 for the safe limit, and the spin chilling, 20 to 50. So that's higher than the tap water. So the Australian standard allows up to 50 parts per million free chlorine in the chiller water, and the apparently the final product must have no detectable chlorine residue above drinking water standards. Do we think that happens? I don't know. I wouldn't want to risk it. Anyway, let's get worked up over that. Don't eat it. Just don't eat chicken. No, guys, I'm not telling you what to do.
Do your research.
But like, it's just so crazy. Like, I still do, now that I've like done a bit more research on it and I'm talking about it, I'm like, wow, I really don't want to eat that shit anymore. Because I've stopped eating chicken. Like, I don't really eat chicken that much. But I still often do get chicken from like other little butchers. Like, I don't get chicken from Coles and Woolies and stuff like that. But I will still get chicken every now and then to make, because I like chicken. It tastes good. But I don't want to pay $35 a kilo for it sometimes, when I'd rather get beef, because I prefer the taste of beef.
It's best to avoid it.
Yeah.
As much as you can.
I'm making beef tartare tomorrow. Is that how you say it? Tartare?
I don't know.
Raw with the egg yolk on top. I'm so excited to try that. I'm making it for my family and I tomorrow night for dinner. That's, guys, your meat and the quality of your meat is so important. And yeah.
Guys, I'm tapping out.
Yeah, I'm like, she wants to say anything else.
We're tapping out.
Well, this is going to be probably a long episode. Maybe not after I cut out Sahima's half an hour of babble.
My like demon inside trying to fight it, bro.
So funny.
Guys, you don't know how much I'm trying to stay awake right now.
I know, it's pretty late. Anyway.
But let us know what else you guys... Oh. Did I say I'm finished?
Sorry. Yeah, you fucking did. You said I'm tapping out. Did you forget?
Go 2 or
say?
3 years in Kazakhstan and forget. You know what I'm talking about? Get out of my face. Anyway, if you guys do have any suggestions, let us know.
Maybe next time we can talk about pork. There's a lot to talk about with pork and how it's the closest tasting thing to human flesh.
And how it's literally a carcinogenic. Like, goodbye.
Do you guys know that?
It's so
allegedly the next closest tasting thing to human skin, or like to humans, is pork.
It's disgusting.
What the hell? Maybe that'll be our next episode. But anyway, thank you for tuning in to our first video podcast. This is the setup for now, but it will be changing as we move forward.
We're getting a statue in the middle of us.
We need a plant or something. It's just, yeah. Anyway, guys, we're sitting on 100-year-old chairs. We got sage green for Sanaform because that's kind of our colour.
That is our colours.
Thank you for listening to this episode, and we will talk to you in the next one.
Bye. Go Egypt and Iran.
What is with you with the fucking soccer? You're distracted.
No, I'm not. Guys, it is so good to see your team win after 90 years. Goodbye.